Have you ever felt unnoticed, overlooked, disregarded? Maybe you're an older single and you long to be married and you're waiting to meet that special someone, but there is no one on the horizon. Or you are married and you long to have a baby but are unable to conceive. Month after month you wait only to face excruciating disappointment. Or perhaps as a seasoned mother, you have agonized in prayer over your adult child who has abandoned her faith. And it seems that God has not heard the cries of your heart as you wait. Waiting is so difficult, isn't it? We live in a culture where immediate feedback and instant gratification is not only a possibility, but it's become an expectation. I've been in a long season of waiting over the last 2 years, and I can assure you on numerous occasions, I have said to the Lord, now could you please confirm to me that you are doing something in the midst of all of this, because it feels like nothing is happening. Recently, very gently, He reminded me that every man or woman that has ever been significantly used by God has endured prolonged periods of waiting. Now, my mind immediately goes to one of my favorites, the Apostle John. He was probably one of the youngest of the 12. If you remember, he and his brother James were known as the sons of thunder. Think of any teenage boy you know, and we probably have a good idea of what John was like. Full of zeal and energy, probably somewhat impulsive, ready to conquer the world. He was the one who wanted to call fire down out of heaven to destroy the Samaritans. He was also the one who was so concerned about which one of them was the greatest, and if he would be the one who would sit beside Jesus in the coming kingdom. Perhaps John, like many of us, including myself, have found our significance in our accomplishments, in our position, in our notoriety. But what most don't realize is that some 50 years passed from the time of Jesus' resurrection to the time that John actually sat down, inspired to pen his gospel. Over 50 years. Now, what happened in those years that changed this proud, egotistical teenage boy to a man who was content to simply be identified as the disciple whom Jesus loved? Most scholars agree that it wasn't that Jesus loved John any more than the rest, but it was by the time John wrote his gospel, it was the way that he had learned to see himself. I am the disciple whom Jesus loved. So somewhere along the way, there were some dramatic shifts in John's heart, and as a result, one of the most intense, intimate relationships that ever existed between God and man developed. I want to leave you with this thought today. In your loneliness, in our loneliness, in the fear of being overlooked and disregarded, would you consider that God may be wooing you into a deeper intimacy with Himself? Could He be forging in you an identity that will not be shaken even in the worst of circumstances? In the agony of waiting before God alone, could God be showing you who you truly are at the core, so that you can look back in that mirror confidently and say, as John said, I am the disciple whom Jesus loved.